straight back into it. It's a good thing that you haven't had much time to dwell on your excellent afternoon.
I think if we were being honest, we'd like a little bit longer. And certainly it'd be nice to have a little bit longer to prepare for Arsenal, because, you know, they're a fantastic side at the moment, playing very, very well, and obviously results are showing that. You know, they're top of the league, and it's a find, isn't it, already? Dear oh dear. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, we would like a few more days if we possibly could, because that would give us a little bit more time to prepare for Arsenal, which is always important when you're taking on a team of like Arsenal, who are top of the league at the moment, and rightly so. When you look at the results they have, they've been very, very consistent.
It's not just the results either, it's the way they're achieving those results. They're playing from what I've seen, very well.
Well, they're a great side, and you know, I know they lost their opening game of the season. There was people calling for Mr. Wenger's head and all the rest of it, and it's just the way sides play, the way they're set up. You know when you go to Arsenal that the one thing you're going to have to do is defend well, play well, because they are as good as anybody at the moment in the league, and when they're playing with that fluidity and freedom which they seem to play, I mean, it's so difficult to set up against them, because of, you know, they seem to play anywhere and everywhere, and they're a goal threat from 5 or 6 people who can all score a goal, which is obviously difficult.
Could they win the league, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, they can win the league. I mean, you know, we're a third of the way through, so why can't they win the league? They'll be like everybody else, you know, that hope and that big players stay fit. But certainly when you look at that squad, I mean, they're a match for anybody, and they've started well, which is always important.
I suppose though, you went into the game against Liverpool as underdogs, you go into this game as underdogs.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Well, we knew from the start of the season that we're going to be underdogs. I mean, I think we were favourites in many people's eyes to go down, and that's quite normal from any team that comes up from the Championship. The one thing we've done is been very consistent and played to a level which has given us a chance. That means we've got to play well week in and week out, which is always difficult. You know, we can't have many off days, and certainly we can't have an off day tomorrow, because we'll have to be at our best. But we've proved at Tottenham and Everton and Newcastle and Chelsea and Man City that we've made a fist of it. Maybe he's not got the right result, but I think that's the way we've got to approach it. Let's go and have a go and enjoy it and see what we can do.
It is a relentless season, isn't it, for the new teams in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Mentally, I would have thought more than anything in a way, every game's like a cup final.
It is, and you've got to reach a level in which is almost impossible to reach it every week. But you've got to be there or thereabouts. We've got to be at full tilt to win a game in the Premier League. But then again, I would think there'd be 12, 13 teams like that. I think that's the beauty of, and I was just having a conversation with Steve Agnew, my assistant, where the beauty of the Premier League is nobody can predict it. We see the big teams in Spain and in Germany just blow away the rest of the league. That's not the case so far. You know, everybody's had a bit of a struggle, and that shows you the strength and depth of what the Premier League is. Because, to be fair, that's why it's watched all over the world. It's a wonderful spectacle.
In the midst of the sort of celebration surrounding a good win on Sunday, you had to talk about the other issue, the naming issue. Is that something that's
well, we can't let it be a distraction, and to be fair, I'm fed up with talking about it now already, you know, and I think that goes for most of us. The only thing I'll say in defence of the chairman, that, you know, what people don't realise, you know, he's pumped millions into a hospital here for cancer research. He's just paid 600,000 to buy a scanner machine for the hospital. He's been here 45 years, but still, in my opinion, doesn't quite still grasp the English language. Now, I'm not making excuses, but a misinterpretation could be there on the cards. I don't think he wanted supporters to go away and die and all this nonsense. I think he wants the situation to die. And I think the quicker it does, the better for me, that we're not wasting our energies on something which, you know, for me is immaterial at the moment. We've got Arsenal away, rather than talking about name changes, and I hope that there can be a resolution to it, and we stop talking about it, because at the end of the day I can't say too much more than what I've already said, and I think that's about where we stand.
That is the extra scrutiny that comes with being in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, last season chairman might have, those comments may have sort of
Yeah.
drifted away, not been noticed. Now all of a sudden everybody's on it. The world's on it in a sense.
Well, the world's on it because it's, I mean, Sunday went to over 200 countries. And we're talking about the things he would like to change. And all he wants to do, really, and believe me on this, he wants the club to go forward, and he thinks it's a way of the club going forward. And all he's done since 2010 is put his money where his mouth is, really. So in that respect, we should be talking about what a really great job he's done since he's come to the club, because without him, as I keep saying, without him, there wouldn't be many to put that vast sums of money like he's put in. However, as I said, there has to be a solution to it and find a way forward from it, because it can only escalate and get worse.
And you said on Sunday when you were sitting there, you're going to have a chat with him. Have you had a chat with him?
No, not quite yet. I'll have a cup of tea with him when I get a chance, and sit down with him, which is usually once every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And but he's only got the best interests at the club at heart. I have to tell that to all the supporters. And it's not a situation where he's come from afar to just buy a Premier League club. He's been here for 45 years. He's as I said, for what he's done for the community here. He's helped rugby teams. He's helped even North Ferriby. He's done hospitals and scanners, and the amount of work he's done for the community is quite remarkable. And I think he bought Hull City because he didn't want Hull without a football team. Before 2010 there was an interest, but not a huge interest. And it's a shame that we're talking about these things, because for all the good work he's done, it's been soured by this name change.
Let's talk about football then.
Good.
And obviously coming off to Sunday, for Wednesday, have you got any injury difficulties that occurred during the week?
Well, we've got Curtis Davis suspended, so we'll have to make a change there. We'll see how Paul McShane is this morning. James Chester comes into the reckoning. He was sub on Saturday, so we've got a little bit of cover there, but that's the only concern we've got at the moment.
And of course your lad played, was it his first start this season? So in the
He was second in the second.
start. People were picking him out as had a really strong game. He must be delighted.
Well, since I've been here, it's always going to be difficult, and it is difficult, the situation. But when I brought him here, I knew fine well he could handle the Championship. He's played 250, 280 times in the Championship. The big question, like him, and for all the ones who haven't played a lot in the Premier League, is can they go and play at Premier League level? And certainly on Sunday, he stated his case. He's had to be patient, like a lot of them, but certainly he did enough to make sure that he's still in the team. So I can tell him that, and I'm sure his mother will be delighted.
And with the rest of the side and how you addressed Arsenal, you alluded to what a good side they were. Their key players at the moment appear to be Mr. Ozil and Mr. Ramsey, in one of his compatriots. I mean, how do you keep them quiet?
The most difficult thing to play against Arsenal is how you set up against them. They're fluid in their movement. Their movement is quite fantastic, and they seem to interchange in positions. You see, where does Wilshere play, or where does Ozil play? They just seem to have a freedom about them, which is very difficult to play against. And of course, they are top players. And Mr. Wenger, who I've got the hugest respect for, has produced another fantastic football team, and who are going to be, in my opinion, there or thereabouts, because of the quality that they've got. And in Ramsey, they've got the outstanding player in the Premier League at the moment, the number of goals he's got. So they're a threat from all them positions. We'll have to play well, it's as simple as that. But as I've just said, we've been to Chelsea and Man City and Tottenham, and let's hope we can go and play as well as we can do at the Emirates.
No doubt some of the older folk around here remind you of a famous fixture at Arsenal in the first Premier League season, 1-2-1.
Yeah, so I'm led to believe. I remember it vividly. Yeah, so let's hope we can repeat that. It'll be good.